Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble.
Gobbler, not you again.
In the feathers.
Oh, knock it off. I won't fall for that act twice.
Oh, you're looking mighty fine, Edith.
Don't sweet talk me.
I mean it. Well, you look as nice as can be reasonably expected for a turkey hen.
Charmin'.
Keep up the beauty routine. You're getting results.
Well, a dust bath isn't designed to attract males. It's plumage maintenance.
It attracts me.
So much for removing parasites.
Come off it. You're pleased to see me. Admit it.
Well, I'm biologically programmed to respond to tacky displays.
There you go.
But I'm also biologically programmed to avoid stress, anxiety, and pain. So bug off.
Honey pie, I'm plumb sorry I abandoned you.
I should have listened to Ma. She warned me about smooth-talking philanderers.
Oh, a bird can change.
Don't flip your snoot at me.
Honest, I'm turning over a new wing.
What's brought this on?
A traumatic experience.
Well, last I heard, you were snooping around a farmyard, and that never ends well.
I heard yelps from a whole gaggle of turkey hens.
And you couldn't resist.
I was fixing to rescue them from the axe.
How heroic! Did they all swoon and put out?
I got caught. The human pinned me up with a bunch of toms.
Serves you right.
Well, I tried to start a revolt, but they wouldn't budge. Too domesticated.
I hear those birds can't fly.
Oh, so plump they can barely waddle.
Well, didn't the human pick you for a wild one?
Must have figured I was a scrawny specimen. Started to fatten me up.
Oh, you should have gone on a hunger strike.
Oh, the feed was glorious. I'm a sucker for quality victuals.
You have no willpower, Gobbler.
Anywho, I was soon ripe for the chop. The humans dragged me away to my doom.
Which obviously did not eventuate.
It was a miracle, Edith. I got a last-minute reprieve.
How you mean?
They pardoned me. Some sort of tradition.
Well, I hope you're thankful.
Worse was in store. They took me to a petting zoo.
A what?
A torture chamber. Young humans prodding and poking you, plucking the odd feather on the sly.
Oh, dear.
Luckily, it was a minimum security joint.
No lock?
No ceiling. First chance I got, I flew that coop and hightailed it back here.
What an ordeal.
Well, I've learned my lesson, Honey Pie. Will you forgive me?
Well, Ma says never trust a Tom.
My story's true. Every word. I got proof. Let me spew some up. Here you go.
What's that?
A sprig of garden variety domesticated mint.
It's tangy.
Oh, much spicier than the stuff we get in the wild.
Well, apparently domestication isn't all bad.
Well, experience has tamed me. Can you tame your temper?
Well, Ma says always be
Can
sure.
we leave your mother out of this, please?
You never liked her.
'Tain't true. She's very presentable when she ain't cackling.
Well, she never liked you.
'Tain't true neither. She has a whole lot of respect for my physical magnificence.
You twist a body round like a mouse in a rattlesnake.
Well, I'm hankering for another pardon. Am I in luck?
I reckon you can regurgitate any more delicacies.
A whole belly full.
In that case, welcome home.
This is the life. If I'd known the straight and narrow was swell, I'd have reformed ages ago.
Well, better late than never.
Now, I'm a fine, upstanding family bird. Better show some paternal interest. How's the chicks?
Well, they're young jakes now.
Take after their father?
Well, the boys do.
Let's see 'em.
They're Nephidius.
Sorry?
Well, I'm not surprised you're unfamiliar with the word. Nephidius is a parenting term.
Meaning?
They all left home as soon as they could,
Chips off the old block.
leaving me with a poor empty nest.
How's about we fill it up with another clutch?
I'm game.
Say you're willing, not game. You'll give hunters ideas.
Well, let's get down to it. There's a lovely tree behind that bush.
Oh, perfect. I just need to finish my rounds, and you'll have my full attention.
Finish your rounds?
Sort everything out, with others.
Are you telling me?
Well, a sinner must seek redemption from every hen he's wronged.
How many?
Well, I won't be long. If they's all as accommodating as you, I'll be back in a few weeks.
Will you be volunteering to fill their nest too?
Duty calls.
You can cross me off your list, you low-down skunk.
Well, calm down, Edith.
I should have listened to Ma. When she hears about this, she'll be all, I told you so.
No, she won't.
Oh, she'll get stuck into you like a gator talking into a calf.
Oh, you underestimate her generosity of spirit.
I know my mother.
She has a mighty kind heart.
You wish.
I got evidence of her capacity to forgive.
Forgive? Forgive what?
Oh, no one's to blame. Her attraction to me is, how'd you put it, biologically programmed?
Gobbler! You didn't!
Oh, she's cool. I already been to see her.
Before me?
Oh, I need to put everyone in chronological order. Otherwise, the mission be unmanageable.
Manage this!
Ooh!
Act 1, Scene 1. San Francisco, a small south of market digital marketing firm. Hip designers, cutting-edge creatives gather in a conference room decorated for the holidays. Henry, 40s, the boss, stands in the middle of the room and offers a toast.
Everyone, please join me in a toast to the end of another year. Happy holidays. May all of our wishes come true. Thanks to our rock stars and accounts, we have some fantastic new clients. For the new year, our docket is full. Thank you, .com gods. And thank all of you for your hard work. Some of you have been with me from the beginning, and wow, has San Francisco gone through some mind-boggling changes since we started up this little agency 10 years ago? Level 1 would never have survived without you. I hope you'll take a moment during the holidays to reflect on what we've accomplished this year. Please, everyone, take the rest of this afternoon off, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. Cheers.
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 Sounds of an office crowd. Charlie and Eugene stand to one side. Charlie, overweight, 35, the office administrator, eyes a hunk across the room and swallows his drink in one gulp. Beside him, Eugene, 50s, an eccentric, scruffy designer, thin and nervous, sips his water.
It's him.
Him who?
Eric, production artist. Look at his eyes. They're gorgeous.
He's sleeping with Phil.
What?
In trafficking.
Marry Phil.
That's the only Phil in trafficking.
Phil got Eric in the sack?
Well, Phil's husband is out of town. He flew home to Florida to take care of it.
Phil's got moles.
Charlie, are you sleeping?
Phil is not only a cheating asshole, but he's got a mole on his neck the side of Texas. And what gives him the right to bid the hot new artist? I happen to know that Phil is already that Phil already has at least one lover on the side.
It's none of my business, but you know.
Well, I wonder if Eric knows that that the old man that he's banging is already married and has another lover to boot.
After a while, does it really matter?
Fucking Phil, he gets laid more than anybody.
Charlie, I'd stay out of it if I were you.
I was going to talk to him. I was going to say hello, Eric. Ask if he wanted a drink or something.
What's stopping you?
Well, he's banging Phil.
Charlie, you're a little tough on the guy.
I'm going to say hello. And if it just so happens to come up about Phil, then I'm not to blame if the truth comes out, right?
Oh my.
Charlie walks toward Eric, who dodges him by going in to hug another employee and get a drink. They leave Charlie standing alone.
Poor Charlie.
Charlie returns to stand with Eugene.
Yeah, he did that on purpose. Good-looking guys are so fucking snooty.
He didn't see you.
Well, he must have very low standards because,
Athena said he's coming to her house party tonight.
What? Well, I already said no to that party.
Me too. My cat hates it when I'm out late.
So Eric is going to be there with all those freewheeling lesbians tonight. Maybe I'll change my RSVP to yes instead.
You must have it bad for this guy.
No, after what you told me, I don't care for him at all. I will go to that party tonight. I will tell Eric that he's sleeping with a trash bag. He really could do much better.
Charlie stomps out of the conference room. Scene 2. Lights up on Twin Peaks Tavern, a gay bar for men of a certain age. A worn-out bar stool sits downstage. Sounds of ice clinking and chatter of drinkers. A lean, handsome bartender wipes down the bar and polishes glasses.
Here's how it happened.
Charlie walks in and sits on his bar stool.
A scotch, another scotch.
Charlie sips his drink. He watches passerby through the large window.
Fucking Phil.
That's Charlie. Back where he belongs on a Friday night.
Hey, Barstool, wrong side up.
They laugh at him. Charlie gives his friends the finger.
Barstool Charlie. That's what his friends at the Twin Peaks called him.
Hateful bitches.
That was his bar stool. It was permanently shaped like Charlie's ass. He sat there on Fridays having cocktails until the floor tilted. Outside, a heavy fog waterfalled in from the ocean and over the hills, those towering Twin Peaks. Charlie sat in the bar that's named after them. The scotch warmed him. After a few, he only saw the parts of the people he chatted up. Their mouth, their ear, their collar. Too old for you? The smell of their breath. What were they saying? Cologne, loud jokes.
No, it's only 10 years since I moved to San Francisco. I'll drink to my new home.
One drink led to another, and pretty soon...
Passerby catches his attention and he watches them go down the sidewalk.
He liked to stare.
There is nothing wrong with that.
He liked to watch the evening crowd come up out of the Muni station. He stared at the guys arriving from downtown Montgomery Street, Union Square, the handsome young men in suits and ties, although you really don't see much of them anymore. But that night...
Jesus.
Charlie's cell phone makes noises.
Oh, yeah.
Alerts for nearby guys. His M&M, his growler, scruff and grinder. Love was in the air that night.
I was the last gay in San Francisco to get on the hookup act, but I made up for lost time.
What guy will it be tonight? Scroll, scroll, scroll. This is San Francisco and the possibilities are endless. What perfect stranger will swipe into your life and take you to a new happy place?
No fat, no femmes.
No takers.
I need a new profile. Maybe I'll be a bear. Not shaving sounds easy.
The worst condition of all?
Great acting. What the hell does that even mean?
They laughed and he didn't. That's when he knew he'd been sitting too long inside this glass coffin.
The clientele inside this bar tends to be a little bit too geriatric anyway.
Hey, Barstool, wrong side up.
You're all a pack of losers. Good night. On avant.
Halo lift, Charlie? You've had a few.
Yeah, I'm not drunk. It's only a few blocks off Castro. It's a little bit Eureka and then over on 19th. It's a night for lesbians, apparently, on a hill. I'm going to let the little fucking hottie Eric know the truth. His geriatric boyfriend is a cheap whore.
Scene 3, a very steep hill in the Castro. It's dark except for one weak street light. Bartender continues a bit from the side.
It was steep. An out-of-shape queen could barely manage the climb.
I'll get to the gym again for my health. I swear. Oh my God. Fuck, Phil. Look, Eric. God, I'd love to. Man, this fog is really pouring in. I can't see a thing.
He's done this walk in darker states, drunker states, but that's the night he saw her.
Charlie stops center stage.
The fog birthed her right there in front of him.
Bartender disappears. Upstage, Venus, young, beautiful, nude goddess, appears in her own pool of light, wrapped in fog. She glows. The light from her shines in Charlie's face, blinding him. He covers his eyes.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Charles, why do you persecute me?
Can you stop shining that fucking light in my face?
I am warning you. Respect me.
Jesus, aren't you cold?
I am perfection.
You're naked.
He squints at her. The light from her intensifies.
Holy shit, you nearly blinded me, you crazy homeless freak.
A diaphanous fabric floats down and covers her. The light dims enough for him to see her.
Gods rarely make accommodations.
Where I come from, a lady covers herself up. God, I can't see.
Your sight will return when you answer my questions.
This neighborhood is out of control.
I am a power stronger than you.
Oh my God.
I am love.
Hey. Aren't you that lunatic who plays her accordion down on Church Street Station and sings out of tune? What happened to the helmet with the flashing red bulb on top?
I appear in many likenesses. If I showed you my true form, you would perish, consumed by flames.
What the hell do you want?
Honor me. Honor love. End your willful disrespect, or you will suffer. Answer my questions, and you will see again. Now, what created you?
Created? Look, I'm an atheist like any normal person. I don't believe any of that.
What created you?
God, get a grip. I guess, biologically speaking, it was my mom and dad, I guess. Kids, and her,
Love created you.
Love. You're nuts.
The love of John and Anne.
Really? The Pokemon Go craze lasted longer than that marriage. Long enough to pop me up and hit the road. Hey, are you one of those Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve assholes? How did you know my parents' names?
Whom do you love?
Are you kidding? Love doesn't live in San Francisco anymore.
I am love.
You? Look, I'm sorry, sweetheart, but you're not my type. Love for me is a Tom of Finn with motorcycle daddy. You know, thick beard, 30-inch biceps, and a tight cop uniform that can barely contain him.
I'm love, not pornography.
No, you know. Tall, with hair that's darker than night and eyes just so intense. Intense like Eric's. Do you know anyone?
What you love is fantasy. So be it. Fantasy will become flesh. I will show you. Then you will honor me.
Charlie's phone chirps. He stares at the screen, still trying to focus. His eyesight is returning.
I thought I'd turn this thing off. Damn. Oh my God. He's my dream man.
Your revelation will come. But for now,
she vanishes dramatically. The street corner goes dark again. Charlie squints, trying to see where she went.
Maybe scotch isn't my drink.
He checks the guy in the hookup app and reads the street signs.
A block from here? Hey, crazy love lady. Thank you. Fuck Eric.
He hurries up the hill.
Interior Zoom screen of Kent and Walter Day. Kent, male 30, sits at his desk staring into a computer. Walter, male 60, sits at a table looking into a computer.
Not exactly.
What?
He's in the waiting room.
What?
I invited him. He's been waiting for me to let him into the conversation.
Why in God's name would you, of all the damnedest things you've done, this is the damnedest.
Look, this took a lot of doing on my end. Grandpa isn't the most technical savvy person. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. I just want you to be here with him just for a few minutes. For me?
Walter sits silent for a few minutes.
It's your show.
Good. I'm letting him in.
Buck, male 82, enters the Zoom screen.
Hey, Grandpa.
Hey, back at you. Hey, Walter.
Dad.
Been a while.
Uh-huh.
You know, as I was sitting here, I kept thinking of songs, but dang God, I can't remember all the words.
Which song? Can you sing it?
Well, I'm not sure. What I remember goes like, you can plan on me. Please have some snow and mistletoe and presents by the tree. Funny, I just remembered. It was something your great-grandfather sung back after the war. He had a great voice, better than mine.
I don't know. Sounded pretty good. You don't remember the name?
Nope. None of the other words either. Now, what was the name of that?
I'll be home for Christmas. I just Googled it. Got all the words too.
Yep, that's it. I'll be home for Christmas. That's it. I guess I was thinking of it because we're going to be getting together this year. You know, I went out and cut a tree and started decorating.
It's so not happening.
Oh, I know. I should have waited for you, but I got too excited and wanted to get it done.
It's not the tree. I won't be there for Christmas.
No? I thought Kent said.
Kent doesn't speak for me.
I thought we could all talk it over now.
There's nothing to talk over. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to be wasting my Christmas with him.
I see. I guess not enough water has passed under that bridge.
Sorry, Grandpa. I thought we could work it out. I can still come by.
Don't worry about it. And you should be with your father. You come see me in the new year.
Sure.
How do I get out of here?
Just click the red button in the lower right.
Buck Images disappears. Walter and Kent sit in silence for a moment.
You know, the next time you get a ridiculous idea like that, you don't include me.
Sure. Sorry. Hey, do you remember the song? Do you remember any more of the words?
I don't remember Buck ever singing nothing.
There's this interesting line. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. What's the love light?
Memories. The better times.
Dad, I've never said this, but you've been a great father. I really appreciate what you've given me. I just have to wonder that there must have been something with Grandpa and Grandma that wasn't all bad. What you are had to come from somewhere. Right? It had to.
The good doesn't always outweigh the bad.
But maybe we control that. Maybe we give value to what we want to remember. Maybe we build a throne that we want to sit on.
What's that mean?
Maybe you sit on a throne of lies.
What the hell does that mean?
We build a throne for ourselves. We build it by sitting on all the regrets and failings we've built up over time. And we choose to never get up from it. It's just the opposite of the song. We ignore the love light.
You are oversimplifying this.
The past only lives in our minds. I think we choose to hold on to it and then we never get off the throne.
There's too many things. Too many things I can't forget. And I tried to leave them behind by cutting off that part of my past. And now just this is you're flooding all over again.
I'm sorry. I thought we could work it out.
I know. Thank you. Am I going to see you for Christmas?
Sure. I'll be home for Christmas. See you soon.
Good. See you soon, son.
The Zoom screen goes black. Interior home of Walter, night. Walter has his phone to his ear.
Hello.
Hey, Dad. You got a minute for us to talk?
So usually we kind of hang around, do a little bit of conversation about what we've done, what we've said, give the writers and actors, you know, some credits. If you have to leave, that's fine. If you can stick around, we'll talk until everybody runs out of things to say. So the first one was "Don't Flip Your Snoo" by Rex McGregor. And Rex, are you branding yourself as the animal personifier?
One of my strands.
Okay. And I kept wondering that weird wig that Paul Yulin was wearing, and then I understood it when the play started. Very funny.
Oh, look at Paul. I'd never seen Paul without the wig. Wow.
No longer a goblin.
The wig's an improvement, huh?
No, you're such a handsome man. Don't wear the wig. I love your writing, Rex. I thought it was hilarious from the moment I read it. I think it's so funny. I would love to see it done on stage. I picture people like, Carol Burnett or Lucille Ball, those kind of people, like physical comedy. And with just that little rehearsal before, the actors, Paul and Louise, did quick little physical comedy. It's so wonderful. And I love animals. I love the idea of animals. It tricks you into thinking it's a kid's story, and it's so not.
No, definitely not.
This is more of a yes and than a yes, but I also really kind of see this living in an animation space, right?
Oh yeah.
It really sounds like an animation script. So when you're thinking about it, maybe that's something that you could think about a little more. Like the thing that my husband is an animator, and one of the things that he told me about animation was that animation, really, there has to be no excuse other than it has to be animated, right? To make an animated anything, right? Like it has to be that. Like there's no other way you could do it. You know what I'm saying? So if you were going to expand into that space, maybe you think about things, what can I do with an animated piece that I can't do on stage? Not that it wouldn't be a good stage piece, but it's Los Angeles. So you might as well think about all the angles, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like an adult aardvark series, an adult chicken run, an adult,
Well, BoJack Horseman, right?
Right, more of that.
What is a snood? Is a snood like the comb? What's the
cone?
Yeah.
Oh, that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few words in there that I didn't recognize, but I am glad that she did translate one of those words about the children leaving the home. So thank you for that. Didn't have to look that one up. So for you as a writer, Rex, did anything come out different for you that give you a different thought on it?
I've seen several readings of this now, and I'm beginning to think, yes, it does have a lot of flexibility, and there's totally different ways of doing it. I mean, different levels of costuming, for example. I mean, I have seen it performed once on stage with actors in masks, which isn't really effective, but that was the first stage production I saw in the US after COVID, where they both had to wear masks. But I look forward to seeing a live production where you can get all the turkey movement into it.
Sure.
Rex, when you say masks, you mean COVID masks, not...
I mean COVID masks. Yeah, no.
I was picturing animal masks.
No. Well, that's another one you could do, but no, this was COVID masks.
Oh,
and they had to fumigate the stage between each production. It was in New York, one of those small theaters.
Oh, okay. Great. Thanks for participating. Are you going to have something next month?
Absolutely. I've just seen some new actors too that I'd like to use.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Tim brought in a lot of actors from outside of the group. I'm glad you did. I hope they continue to stay with us. So we can move on to Venus of the Castro. Unfortunately, Sean, I guess, had to leave, but we can continue on.
Castro.
How did it work for you, Tim?
I should have prefaced it. It's the opening 3 scenes of a larger work that I'm working on. But hearing it read a few times is very helpful because I see lots of things I can trim here and there. And there's one moment And the last time we read it through, where Venus asks Charlie, "Whom do you love?" And then it dawned on me, it's himself. It's like he needs to learn to love himself more than anything else before he can like respect love in general, I think. So that was sort of helpful.
Good. Yeah, because I'm glad to hear that it's a piece of a larger piece, because to me as a short, it seemed to be a complete story, but as just this piece, I kept thinking you didn't need the scene in the office. It could have started at the bar. And I really liked the idea of the bartender kind of continuing with the story as kind of this narrator outside of the bar. I thought that was interesting, an interesting idea. And then it seemed to be like we were getting the narration from both the bartender and Charlie at the same time. We were getting them as narrators in the last, well, I guess it was the last scene or the second to the last scene.
I think that, I mean, what stuck out for me the last time we read it was that, you know, we did like, there really needs to be a choice made around, is the bartender like a Greek chorus? The bartender is a Greek chorus and only the Greek chorus? Or does everyone do this? And I know it's part of a larger work, but right now it's just Charlie and the bartender. And I'm wondering if there's places to explore that a little bit earlier on. Like if you keep the office scene, which, like, I understand Stephen's point, but let's say that you kept it, you know, is there a place to have a little more exposition and to give some of the minor characters more color by using this technique of them speaking? Or do you really just want it to be, you know, one person kind of is the Greek chorus throughout the whole thing? I think that's a choice that needs to be made.
That's interesting. I did not see it as a Greek chorus at all. Is that something you all discussed that I missed? No. Here's what I saw when I first read it. I immediately, oh God, I'm aging myself here, but I don't know if y'all remember Dragnet.
Oh, sure.
That opening thing.
Just the facts, man.
Yes, that voice, that kind of monotone kind of thing. And it was kind of like, also like that, I forget that other one, Man Car, I don't know, there was a bunch of those back then. And that's what I saw the bartender as. And though I didn't do it today because I couldn't read, but that's what I was seeing it as, like just kind of, because you wouldn't have what's being narrated today wouldn't be read in the actual film. So the bartender's kind of that outside person narrating the story. But I kind of think that Greek chorus thing is so interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, the reason why I was suggesting as a short, starting it in the bar, was because the bartender's first line is, "This is how it started."
Right.
And so she's immediately becoming this kind of narrator outside of what's being performed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I did want to kind of just mention something, honestly, just because I think it's interesting. Like playing like I have not actually performed, guys. This was the first time I performed.
Oh, you did a great job.
In possibly 25 years.
Oh my God.
If I think about it. Yeah, and I was a professional actor and I did the do for a long time, you know. But what really stuck out for me in this, and it's more just not really an observation about the play, but more of an observation about society in general, was that I kind of recognized that this character needed to be more effeminate and sort of more expansive. And the way the as a gay man, like when I was an actor, everything I did started with, how can I hide the fact that I'm gay? Right. And so I really had a hard time, even though like I'm pretty effeminate, like that's okay. Like I understand that about myself, but like I couldn't somehow make this guy effeminate enough, because all of my Like all of my training and everything I had been told had sort of made me make him as butch as I thought. You know what I mean? I found myself fighting that like 100% the whole time. It was interesting for me.
I don't, so let me chime in here. I don't see the character as effeminate. I just see him as a man. And I know that all the labels are going away, and they've gone away. Also, people who are HIV positive, all the labels are going away. It's all changing, and with a new generation of kids. And it's interesting, but that you say that. I mean, and Tim, you're the writer of this as you create it. I always see a different interpretation for people, you know, and I'm sensitive to that too, because for a long time, I can't remember if I had that in a casting and said, you know, and I was in an acting class years ago in Florida. It was like, you know, if you just were a little butcher kind of a thing. And I was like, fuck you. You know, it's like, oh, you butch, I'll beat that. Okay. You know, it's like, don't talk to the Irish kid like that. But anyway, but I understand where you're saying that it comes from a place of, if we can strip all that away and say that, oh, that's just one part of this character. The sexuality is only one part, as opposed to, you know, and I love that what you did with it is that you made him laugh in the scene with Venus. You know, you were the character was laughing at this situation of like, I'm in the middle of a fucking foggy corner, and this woman, I tell, who the fuck is this woman? You know, and all of a sudden, boom, here's what you wanted, bingo, right on your phone. So it was fascinating for that perspective. Is that?
Yeah,
you know.
Charlie eventually is going to be cracked wide open by Venus. She's going, you know, like if you don't honor the gods in the classic sense, you suffer, and he's going to suffer a bit.
Thank you for making the characters interesting.
I didn't know if you had told the whole group like what you told us the other day in rehearsal about what you want to do for each character and what your larger piece is going to look like.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, like the owner of the company, he has his own little, this takes place during the holidays. So the owner of the company is bringing his mother out from Kentucky, and she's staying with him and his adopted son, who, you know, it challenges her traditional thinking and everything. So there's a little conflict there. And Eugene has to sell he's having a garage sale to sell all of his dead lovers' stuff that he's been clinging to for decades. So it's like everybody has a little tale of love that's spun out from this. So that's how I'm trying to tie it all together. And Bartender has a great monologue where where he or she is talking about an elderly gay guy down the street who just died in his house, and nobody was there to witness it. And it's sort of like a lonely, sad story about love that didn't work out.
So will you be bringing in other pieces from this?
I'd like to, yes.
Okay. Well, you've got most of your cast already set, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask a curious question of the playwright?
Yes.
Sure.
I think you froze.
He did. He'll be back in a second.
For dramatic effect, it's a very curious question.
Go for it, Paul.
Turn off your video. Turn off your video.
Turn off my video?
Yeah, because then then we'll hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got it. So I was curious in terms of the Shauna's character, you know, and I take her to be, I didn't take her to be the Greek chorus, but rather that he was speaking to God, and if you don't respect God. So my question was, in other words, is the way he's living his life disrespectful to God? Is that what you're going after here? Oh boy, I think I froze again.
No, you're fine.
We can
okay, you heard me?
Everything.
Oh, good. Okay, so yeah, I was just trying to figure out that his wanting to, you know, just have a more of a focus on sex is disrespecting of God. Was that what I was supposed to be getting?
He's more his sabotaging of love, like he's aiming to sabotage this relationship, and he's very bitter about love. He doesn't honor love, and that's the source of it. So maybe I could be a little bit more clear with that.
Well, I think overall, Tim, as you look at the piece and as you write the piece, I would go back and really look at what I think it will add more dimension and more texture to it if you really look at what ancient Greeks held to be important. You know what I mean? And part of this is because, you know, I teach the Odyssey and the Iliad every year. You know what I mean? So one thing that really stuck out for me in this that I don't think you picked up on in a way that helped the piece was there's this idea called Xenia, right? It's this idea that you need to be hospitable no matter what. And if you're not hospitable, the gods are going to punish you. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot there for you to kind of mind, right? In the relationship between the goddess and this person who doesn't know that because he's not, you know what, he's not Greek. He's an American living in San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? So I think the more you kind of go back and have this sort of contrast between what this goddess expects because they are Greek and they are immersed in Greek culture and what an American does, I think that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to, I too agree, that's very interesting. God, it's been years since I've read the Iliad. I want to go back to what I think Paul, he's off now, but said as far as, you know, was it about that she's coming to him because he's only going after sex as opposed to love? I had a different perspective of that. I thought you set that up perfectly with the initial scene that for a feature, that initial scene of work where you get to see him hitting on a guy who's married, or you know, and his blatant attitude of disrespect for anybody who's with somebody or cares or whatever. So I thought you set that up nicely, and it was clear to me that that it was about somebody not knowing what love is and sabotaging themselves.
Thank you.
However, if you shortened it and started it at the bar, I wouldn't know that.
Right. Just to add another layer, this is sort of, it's not really a parody, but it's sort of a little bit inspired by the road to Damascus. Like Paul is like visited by God, by Jesus, and like converted. And this is sort of like, you know, Charlie is visited by Venus and converted eventually into a disciple of love.
Are other characters visited by other gods?
No, he's the one that she visits. However, she does sort of go in and out of the story.
Would it be interesting to make it into a kind of Fantasia where, like, instead of having just Greek gods, but gods or figures from religions show up for the characters throughout? You know what I mean? Is there something interesting there, you know, as you write it?
Yeah.
May have to change the title then.
Gods of the Castro.
Gods of the Castro. Well, are we ready to move on to the last one?
Yeah.
Where the love light gleams. Writer Stephen Olson, director Stephen Olson, narrator Stephen Olson. Buck, played by Stephen Olson. Oh no, that was Chuck Lacey, Walter Paul Sorachi, Kent Owen, Elijah Brown III.
I love this story. I love any story that starts with a dysfunctional family and ends with progress. And you've done such a lovely job of, I really couldn't connect to Chuck Lacey's, the grandfather character, only because you couldn't hear it and it cut out and stuff. So it was a little hard, like it took me out. But the relationship between the father and the son was fantastic. It looked like it had been rehearsed many times. The connection was there. It was so lovely. And the fact that, you know, the arc is at the end, he's calling his his grandfather, his dad. Dad's calling. I just love that. I love happy endings with dysfunctional family. That may be because I'm leaving for Toronto on August 5th to see mine, and this gives me hope. I don't know, but thank you. That was really lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, Paul and I had that discussion because when I sent him the script and he emailed me back and saying, I really want to know what that conversation is with Buck and Walter. And I said, well, that's really up to the audience. It's up to you guys to decide, is that going to be a positive discussion or a negative discussion? But then I told him, for me, it was, Walter has now listened to his son, has given it some thought, and has decided maybe there is some stuff he needs to let go of. And so he does, in my mind, reaches out to his father to try and get some type of amends between the two of them.
Now Stephen, is there any part of you as the writer that wants to evolve that conversation though? Between, I don't get me wrong, I know what you said. I'm going to turn my video off because I think I froze. I know what you said about it's up to the audience what it would be, but yeah, but it's also up to you if you want to write it. Are you interested to write it? Is my question.
I might be interested to write a conversation like that, but in a different script. And this one, for me, where it ends is where I wanted it to end. I want to keep it open. I don't want to tell the audience, okay, this is what you should think. I want it to be open.
I will say that I wanted to kind of know what the nut was, right? Like what is that thing that everybody is sort of walking around and not comfortable with, and you know what I mean? I don't need to know the whole thing, but I need to have enough so that I can imagine it, you know? That would be my only, because I honestly really loved the piece. I thought the dialogue was very natural. I thought the diction was natural, and it was well acted. So
it was well acted.
Thank you, guys. Stephen, I just want to point out that as Charlie was saying there, Thomas, I'm sorry, it's Thomas. But you know what would be the more interesting part of the conversation for me is not necessarily to know specifically what went down between those two guys, but I'd be curious. And again, the therapist, I'm a marriage and family therapist now for about 17 years. So I'm more interested in that conversation now of how they might slowly go towards a more healing kind of relationship and how that would evolve. To me, that would be very interesting and draw me right in. So these guys that haven't talked and have been conflicted all these years, how do they begin to move towards one another? To me, that's a very interesting conversation, much more than what happened between them. Not as interesting, you know.
But they begin by,
all of us have something that happened between.
They begin by Walter picking up the phone.
Yeah, that's how it always begins.
Yeah,
but you know, I would to see if you want to write it. Yeah, yep.
I was just want to iterate here. You know, it's funny because as I was reading through this first couple times, you know, it's like it's interesting how it's always like the son who sees things a bit more clear than the father, right? Like the father, they go and they're doing whatever it is that they're doing, and then like for whatever the character I played, his father sees things wrong in his father. And it's like always the generation lower that kind of has to forgive it. And it's like, as I was reading that, I kind of felt like when you get to the point where it's like the last conversation between me and my father, and then I hang up, he's maybe contemplating in his head, like, you know, my son kind of sees me as like the throne speech was sort of like, dude, you're not perfect. You're not perfect. And I could sit here and build my own throne on you. And that really connected for me. I felt like, it's a story like so many people can tell, because I mean, we all have parents that have flaws. So, as you're growing and you're seeing these things, I thought it was really just a great experience to kind of have that connection be defined in this play.
Thank you.
Two things. One is I love that we don't know what the problem was between the dad and the granddad, because that allows the audience to put in whatever shit you've experienced. Right. And it's that thing. For me, it was clear what it was, because it's whatever shit I've experienced. And I'm sure it's different for everybody. That was one thing. I loved that it didn't, and I saw something in the way Paul was doing it. Like, I saw that he had thought of something. It was quite clear in his face and his eyes that he had a visual of some kind. If he was just bare, then it might be harder for me to connect, but he's a good actor and it worked beautifully. The second thing is, if I were you, Paul, personally, and I had done that part, I would write that monologue on my own and use it, because you connected so beautifully to this character, and it could be something you use. I don't know if you ever auditioned for theater. It's the only place you need monologues now, but it's something you connected to, and since you're so interested and you have that background, I would definitely write it, that phone conversation.
Ready?
Yes.
I was telling Stephen that I'm a playwright myself. In fact, I put out a book a couple of years ago on Amazon. Not that it sold a lot of copies or anything. I did it more for myself. But the opening play of the book is Father's Day, and it's about a therapist trying to reckon with why he could never get love or a value, that his father never valued him. That's the opening play of 15 plays. And then the closing play of the book is called Saying Goodbye, where I have a son coming to visit a sick father, though he doesn't know he's sick, to say goodbye. He's going into the military, going overseas. So I've written a few monologues, father-son, but I like what you're saying here. This would be also a nice monologue to write, courtesy of jumping off on Stephen's script, of course. He'll allow me to write that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good encouragement, but I just want to let you know that as a therapist, I've certainly done a lot of father-son work and written about it as well.
And I'm glad you pointed out that you didn't need to know what had gone on between the father and son, and it's it's kind of an experimentation for me as I'm writing now, to write as little as possible, but still get the story across.
Right.
And I just think that if you've got someone saying, the hell with him, I'm not going to be spending my Christmas with him, you know that there's a problem there. You don't have to know all the details, because for the most part, a lot of us have had that experience. So there's really no reason to write that experience, because people have enough in them to be able to associate with it.
Well, I actually disagree with that a little bit. The thing is, I think that you need to prime the pump just a bit, right? I don't think you need to be real explicit about it, right? But I think it needs to have just a kind of general direction, right? Because what that does is it ignites our imaginations. Oh, they don't like the way they talk to each other, maybe something happened, whatever it is, maybe something happened with the mother. You know what I mean? Maybe something real vague, but something that sort of sparks us to go, you know what, I'm sitting here, I'm in an audience, I need a little something to bring me into this.
Okay.
Something subtle. I really don't think that somebody, I don't want people to come out on stage and be like, this is our problem, and this is why we can't get over it. Because that's not fun. What's fun is there's a mystery here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all working.
Oh, sorry.
All valid.
Oh, I love the fact that it was written specifically for Zoom. I like that.
It came out during COVID. when we first started doing things on Zoom, we were kind of adapting scripts that I had written and just kind of performing them as reading them on Zooms. But then I talked to my friend who kind of got me into this, and I said, why don't I try and write something that's for Zoom, something that fits into the platform? And that's when I started doing things like that.
I had this thought when Chuck's camera, internet was going funky. If you're going to do this again on Zoom, this play, it's an easy one to like address that. If you address it with the actors in advance, like the son could have said, Grandpa, turn off your video. Just add the lines of how to correct it in the moment, because you've already set it up that Grandpa doesn't know what he's doing. This internet's probably really cheap.
That's a very good fix. That's a very good fix. Yeah.
And Owen did that at a point where I think maybe Paul's video froze, and he kind of added some extra lines in there until Paul unfroze. So that happened during rehearsal, and it was great that it was done this time too.
I felt like Chuck was being method. I was like, yo, this guy's going in. He doesn't know how to use his phone. He's going in right now. This is great.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect when his video went dark and it pops back in again. I was going, yeah.
It was all over. We knew right from the get-go this was going to be a mishmash with the technical things were not going well, as we saw in rehearsal. We saw.
I was like, he is Grandpa. He is Grandpa. Like, great.
Well, it's almost 7 o'clock my time. It must be getting a little late on the West Coast too.
Thanks to all my actors.
Hey, Stephen, quick question. If I want to submit a play, do I go on to LA Play Readers and make note of it that I want to submit a play for next time out?
Yeah, all you have to do is submit the title, what actors you need, if you need a director or narrator.
Okay, I'll write that in right after we go off. Okay,
great.
Good.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Good.
Yep.
So I hope everybody enjoyed it and would like to come back and do it again. We do it every fourth Sunday.
You're gonna post the recording on the page?
Yeah, it takes me about a week to do the editing. Please go on to the Facebook page. I posted all of the crew and cast and on there. Just double check, make sure all of the names are spelled correctly.
Word.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks.
It was great meeting all of you. This was really fun.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
to see you guys.
And Owen, we might run into each other since we're both on the East Coast.
Hey, let's do a party in New York. Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, and you're in the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm in the East Coast. But so how many of you guys are actually on this side versus the other side?
East Coast.
East Coast?
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, about 4 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I know that. Stephen, I met you at the there was like a networking event, right?
But Armand's mixer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you the DJ?
I'm the MC.
MC. Okay. Yeah.
And I've been talking to Ermin about the other one, so I think we got to make sure we I'll definitely post it on the LA page, even though I know only half of you can go, but he's also LA too, so if he does one out there, he'll probably post it over there as well.
Yeah, that's where he does most of his events. He used to do them live, and he's getting back into that. So yeah, it was nice meeting you, and thanks for coming in.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
all right,
all.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Paul.
don't be strangers. Peace, guys.
Bye, Tim.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy,
Bye.
everybody.
You
Nice
too.
meeting-
Nice
Thank you.
meeting you all. Thanks, Stephen. Bye.
Welcome. Thank you.
Nice seeing you guys.